They're counting on you to lose it. Yeah, they want you to blow up, break down, and give them the satisfaction of seeing you crumble. They're salivating at the thought of your rage, your tears, your desperation. That's the kind of power they crave. It's cheap, like a pickpocket stealing coins instead of earning them. But you're smarter than that, aren't you? You've got something they'll never understand. Your silence. See, silence isn't weakness. No, it's a weapon, a shield, a stage. It's where the real battle begins. When you stop reacting, when you pull the rug out from under their pathetic little plans, you strip them bare. Suddenly, their power, their control, it's gone. Like smoke, it disappears into the void, and all they're left with is their own reflection. Empty, powerless, pathetic. You've felt it, haven't you? That need to scream, to fight, to defend yourself. Oh, they're counting on it. They've rehearsed the scene in their heads 1,000 times. You'll say this, and I'll say that, and then I'll win. That's their game. A game of reactions. But silence is a game they don't know how to play. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a puppet master, strings in hand, smirking as their little marionette dances. Now imagine the puppet cuts the strings. Dead silence. The smirk fades. The crowd gasps. And the master? They're just a fool holding useless strings. That's you. The puppet who stops dancing. The silence that leaves them powerless. But silence isn't just about shutting up. No, it's a message. A roar without sound. It says, you don't own me. You don't define me. I'm not your puppet. It's the ultimate power move. A chess piece they never saw coming. You know why they hate silence? Because it forces them to face themselves. And trust me, they won't like what they see. Silence is a mirror, and most people can't stand their reflection. They'll try to fill the void, to drown out the quiet with noise, with lies, with blame. But it's too late. Your silence has already exposed them. Think about this. A lion doesn't roar to scare the jungle. It's silent, stalking, watching, and when it strikes, the jungle remembers. Silence is your jungle. It's where you plot, where you grow stronger. Let them laugh, let them mock. They're hyenas, loud and obnoxious, living off scraps. But you're the lion. Every time you stay silent, you're reminding them that they don't matter. Their words, their actions, they're just noise in a world you've already conquered. And the best part, they can't handle it. They'll twist and squirm, trying to provoke you, to pull you back into their little circus. But you won't. You'll stand there, silent, unshaken, a fortress they can't breach. Oh, but don't get me wrong. Silence isn't about weakness or surrender. It's about control. Your control. They can't manipulate what they can't predict. And when you stop reacting, you become a mystery, a puzzle they'll never solve. That's power. You want proof? Look at history. The strongest revolutions, the greatest movements, they didn't start with screams. They started with silence, with people standing together, unbroken, unyielding. Silence is the seed of change, the spark of revolution. And here's the thing about silence. It's not for them, it's for you. It's your sanctuary, your weapon, your declaration of independence. It's you saying, I don't need your validation, your approval, your games. I'm enough. You think they care about you? They don't. They care about control. Your reaction feeds their illusion of power. But when you stay silent, when you refuse to play their game, you take that power back, and that scares them. Oh, it terrifies them. Because deep down, they know the truth. Their power isn't real. It's borrowed, stolen, a shadow of what you carry inside. And your silence, it shines a spotlight on their lies, their weaknesses. They'll call you cold, distant, heartless, good. Let them. Because silence isn't about pleasing others. It's about protecting yourself, your peace, your strength. So let them think they've won. Let them celebrate your silence as their victory. They won't realize until it's too late. Your silence isn't surrender. It's a storm gathering strength. And when it breaks, when you decide to speak, to act, the world will remember. But until then, let the silence speak for you. Let it scream louder than their words ever could. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of power, of defiance, of unshakable strength. They thought your reaction would give them power. But your silence, it took it all away. Oh, they'll hate it, you know. Your silence. It's like a splinter in their minds, a nagging itch they can't scratch. They'll twist themselves into knots trying to figure it out. Why aren't they reacting? Why aren't they shouting back? Are they planning something? And oh, the paranoia. It's a delicious thing to watch, isn't it? Their minds unraveling under the weight of their own insecurities. But don't get me wrong. This silence I'm talking about, it's not passive. It's not the silence of a victim who's too scared to fight. No. This is the silence of someone who's done fighting pointless battles. Someone who's moved past the petty games and the need to prove themselves to anyone. It's a silence that screams, I don't owe you anything. You see, the world is loud, too loud. Everyone's shouting, desperate to be heard, desperate to matter. But in all that noise, do you know what stands out? Quiet, stillness. A person who doesn't need to scream to make their presence known. That's what you're becoming. A force, a storm that doesn't need thunder to be felt. Let me tell you a little secret. People are afraid of silence because it forces them to listen to themselves. That's why they hate it when you're silent. Your silence isn't just about ignoring them. No, it's a mirror. And when they look into it, what do they see? Their own ugliness, their own fears, their own weaknesses. That's what they're really fighting. Not you, never you. They're fighting themselves. And you? You're just holding up the mirror. Let's talk about control for a second, shall we? They think control comes from domination, from getting a rise out of you. But real control, real power, it's about staying unbothered. It's about sitting back while they dance around, trying to provoke you, and you just don't. You let them tire themselves out like a child throwing a tantrum. And when they're done, you're still standing, calm, untouchable. You know, silence is the scariest response of all. A scream is predictable. A shout is comforting. Even an insult gives them something to hold on to. But silence is a void. And people fear the void because it's unknown, uncontrollable. Your silence isn't just a lack of noise, it's a declaration. It says, I see you, I understand you, and you're not worth my energy. Think of it like this. They're standing in front of a locked door, banging on it, screaming, demanding you open it. But you're on the other side, calm, unshaken, sipping your drink. They don't even know if you're still there. And that drives them mad. They wanted a fight. They wanted chaos. Instead, you gave them nothing. And nothing is more powerful than they'll ever understand. Let me give you a practical example. You ever see those people online throwing hate around like confetti? They thrive on reactions. Every comment, every reply, it's fuel for their fire. But when you ignore them, when you leave their words hanging in the void, unanswered, they burn out. Their fire dies because you didn't give it air. That's what your silence does. It starves them. Oh, they'll try to twist it. They'll call you weak, passive, scared. But deep down, they know the truth. They know your silence is strength. It's restraint. It's you saying, I could destroy you, but I won't. Not because I can't, but because you're not worth it. But here's the thing about silence. It's not easy. Oh, no. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. Because every part of you will want to fight back, to prove them wrong, to make them feel what you feel. But you have to resist. You have to stay still, stay quiet, stay strong. That's what makes it powerful. And it's not about them. It never was. Your silence, it's for you. It's your armor, your sanctuary. It's where you heal, where you grow, where you become something they can't touch. They thought your reaction would give them power, but your silence took it all away. It left them exposed, vulnerable, powerless. And that's the real victory. Not the scream, not the fight, but the quiet, unshakable strength of someone who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. Oh, but you're not convinced yet, are you? You think your silence won't change a thing, that they'll just move on, find another target, another way to twist the knife. But let me tell you something. They won't. Not really. You see, they've invested too much in you. You're their obsession, their masterpiece, their proof that they can break someone. But when you don't break, when you stay quiet and let their schemes rot in the filth they came from, that eats them alive. Let's dig deeper. Imagine a chessboard. They're the player, and they think you're their pawn. They move, you respond. They win, you lose. That's their game. But what happens when the pawn stops moving? When the board is frozen and their opponent just walks away? They're left sitting there staring at a lifeless game. They don't know what to do because their power only exists in the game. And you've stepped off the board. They'll tell you silence is weakness, that you're running away. But let me ask you this. Who's really running? Is it you standing firm in your silence? Or is it them, scrambling for ways to make you react? They're the ones running from their own insignificance, their own emptiness. You're not running. You're refusing to play their pathetic little games. And that terrifies them. Here's the dirty little secret they don't want you to know. They're scared of you. Oh, they'll never admit it. They'll laugh, mock, belittle. But deep down in the darkest corners of their minds, they're terrified. Why? Because they know you're stronger than them. They know you've endured more than they ever could. And your silence? It's the proof they can't deny. Look at them. They thrive on control, on chaos, on reactions. They're predators, feeding off fear and pain. But you're not prey. You're the storm, the hurricane that doesn't need to scream to be heard. They can't fight what they can't predict, can't control. Your silence is their defeat, their nightmare. You want to talk about power? Real power isn't in the loudest voice or the sharpest blade. It's in the unshaken will of someone who refuses to be moved. It's in the quiet strength of a person who doesn't need to fight to win. That's what you have. That's what they'll never understand. You're thinking about them now, aren't you? The ones who hurt you, betrayed you, underestimated you? Oh, they thought they'd broken you. They thought they'd won. But here you are, standing taller, stronger, colder. And it's driving them insane. Every moment you stay silent, every time you refuse to react, it's like a knife twisting in their gut. They can't stand it. They need you to fight back, to scream, to give them proof that they matter, but you won't, because they don't. Let me tell you a story. There was a man once, loud, brash, always reacting. He thought that's what strength was. Meeting fire with fire, blow for blow. But do you know what happened? He burned out. He gave everything he had, and it still wasn't enough. Because that's the trap. They don't want to win. They want to drain you, to wear you down until there's nothing left. But the man who learns to be silent, to save his energy, to let the noise pass him by, that man wins every time. Think about it. What's louder? A person screaming into the void, or the void itself? Silence isn't the absence of noise. It's the presence of something deeper, something stronger. It's the calm before the storm, the stillness that makes the world stop and take notice. And you're the void, the storm, the silence that speaks louder than any scream ever could. They'll come for you again. Oh, they always do. They'll poke and prod, trying to find the cracks. But here's the beauty of it. The more they try, the more they reveal about themselves. And you stay silent, watching, waiting. Not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to know that not every battle is worth fighting. Oh, they thought your reaction would give them power, but your silence, it's taken everything from them. Their control, their satisfaction, their sense of superiority. It's all gone, and they'll never admit it. But they know. They know they've lost. Because silence isn't just a response, it's a statement. It's you saying, I'm untouchable, I'm unbreakable, and you don't matter. Keep your silence. Let it be your strength, your weapon, your declaration of power. They thought they'd own you, but they were wrong. And now, they'll spend the rest of their lives trying to understand how they lost. And you'll be free. You know what silence does to people like them? It unravels them. It's a slow, torturous thing, like a drop of water that carves through stone. They can't handle it because it forces them to deal with the one thing they're most terrified of: themselves. Think about it. They thrive on noise, on chaos, on making you feel small so they can feel big. But when you go silent, when you refuse to give them the satisfaction of your anger, your pain, your tears, that's when the mask slips. That's when their insecurities come crawling out of the shadows, whispering in their ears, reminding them of everything they're not. You see, people like that, they don't have power, not real power. Their so-called strength comes from tearing others down. It's borrowed, stolen, like a thief rummaging through pockets for loose change. But you don't need to steal anything. Your silence tells them that you're whole, that you don't need their games to define who you are. Oh, but they'll test you. They'll push every button, pull every string. They'll try to drag you back into their world where they think they can win. But here's the trick. You don't play their game. You don't let them set the rules. And that's what kills them. Let me give you an example. Picture a dog barking behind a fence, loud, aggressive, trying to intimidate anyone who walks by. Most people stop, yell back, try to scare it off. But what happens if you just keep walking? What happens if you don't even glance its way? The barking stops. The dog realizes its noise means nothing to you. That's them, barking, shouting, desperate for your attention. And you're the one who keeps walking. But don't mistake silence for passivity. Oh no, silence is far more dangerous than any outburst. It's calculated, deliberate. It's you saying, I could destroy you, but I choose not to. Not because I'm weak, but because you're not worth my energy. That's the kind of silence that shakes people to their core. And let me tell you something. They know. Oh, they know. They'll pretend they don't, laugh it off, call you names, try to bait you. But deep down, in the quiet moments when they're alone with their thoughts, they feel it. The void you've left behind. The power you've taken back. You ever notice how the loudest people are usually the weakest? They shout, they brag, they make a scene, but it's all a cover. A desperate attempt to hide how hollow they really are. True strength? It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need applause or validation. It just is. And that's what your silence does. It shows them that you don't need their approval, their games, their noise. You know why they hate you? Because you're everything they wish they could be. Strong, resilient, untouchable. Your silence is a mirror, and when they look into it, all they see is their own weakness. That's why they'll keep coming for you, trying to drag you down, trying to make you react. But you'll stay silent. You'll stand tall. And with every second that passes, you'll become something they can never be: free. Oh, they thought they could control you, didn't they? Thought they could manipulate you, break you, turn you into another one of their little puppets. But here you are, cutting the strings, walking away, leaving them floundering in their own emptiness. That's the beauty of silence. It doesn't just protect you, it destroys them. You see, silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's the presence of power. It's a statement, a choice. It says, I don't need to prove myself to you. I don't need to justify who I am or what I've been through. I am enough, and you are nothing. They thought your reaction would give them power. But your silence, it's taken everything from them. Their control, their confidence, their delusions of grandeur. And now they're left with nothing but their own emptiness, staring into the abyss you've created. But don't stop now. Don't let their noise pull you back in. Keep walking, keep growing, keep building a life so strong, so full, that their opinions, their games, their existence becomes irrelevant. They'll hate you for it, for rising above them, for refusing to play their games, for showing them that they were never as powerful as they thought. But that's the price of freedom. That's the cost of true strength. And you're strong enough to pay it. Oh, you think silence is easy? You think it's just about shutting your mouth and walking away? No. No. Silence isn't passive. It's war. A war fought in the shadows, in the quiet corners of your mind, where their words echo like ghosts, trying to haunt you, trying to drag you back. But here's the thing. Every time you choose silence, you're winning that war. Every time you hold back, you're taking another piece of their power and keeping it for yourself. Let me break it down for you. Silence isn't just about not reacting. It's about mastery. Mastery over yourself, your emotions, your impulses. And trust me, that kind of mastery, it's rare. Most people are slaves to their emotions, puppets to their anger, their fear, their pride, but not you. Not anymore. You're learning to rise above it, to see the bigger picture. And that makes you unstoppable. Do you know why they push you? Why they poke and prod and try to get under your skin? It's not just to hurt you. No. It's because they need your reaction to validate their existence. Without you, they're nothing. Just empty shells, shouting into the void, hoping someone, anyone, will hear them. Your reaction is their lifeline. But when you stay silent, when you give them nothing, you're cutting that lifeline. And oh, how they'll squirm. Let me tell you a little story. There was a king once, a great warrior, feared by all. But his enemies knew his weakness, his temper, so they set a trap. They insulted him, provoked him, made him lash out, and in his rage, he fell right into their hands. They didn't defeat him with swords or armies. They defeated him with his own emotions. But you're smarter than that. You see the trap for what it is, and instead of stepping into it, you step back, silent, unshaken. That's real power. Silence isn't just a weapon, it's a mirror. When you go quiet, you're forcing them to face themselves. And most people, they can't stand their own reflection. They'll do anything to avoid it. Shout louder, play dirtier, try harder to drag you down. But that's their problem, not yours. Your silence says, I see you for what you are, and you don't scare me. Think about the strongest people you've ever known. Were they the loudest, the most reactive? No, they were calm, composed, unshaken by the storms around them. That's what you're becoming. That's what they'll never be. And that's why they hate you. Because your silence is proof of a strength they'll never understand. But don't misunderstand me. Silence isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending you don't care. It's about channeling that energy, that pain, into something greater. It's about taking the fire they tried to burn you with and using it to light your own path. It's about turning their poison into your power. You ever hear the saying, revenge is a dish best served cold? Well, silence is colder than ice. It's not about lashing out or getting even. It's about rising so far above them that their existence becomes irrelevant. They'll keep screaming into the void, and you'll be too busy building your empire to even notice. They thought they had you figured out, didn't they? Thought they could control you, break you, turn you into a shadow of yourself. But they didn't realize who they were dealing with. You're not just anyone. You're the storm they didn't see coming. The silence that drowns out their noise. The void that consumes their power. Let them think they've won. Let them celebrate their little victories, their meaningless games. Because while they're busy playing in the dirt, you're rising higher, stronger, untouchable. And one day, they'll look up and realize they've been left behind. That's the beauty of silence. It doesn't just protect you, it propels you forward. You want to know the truth? The world is full of noise. Everyone's shouting, trying to be heard, trying to matter. But you don't need to shout. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your silence says it all. I am enough. I am more than enough. And you're nothing. Oh, they'll hate you for it. They'll call you cold, arrogant, heartless, good. Let them. Because their opinions don't define you. Their words don't shape you. You are who you choose to be. And no one, not them, not anyone, can take that away from you. They thought your reaction would give them power, but your silence, it took everything from them. Their control, their confidence, their illusions of superiority, and now they're left with nothing but their own emptiness. And you're free, so keep walking, keep rising. Let your silence be your shield, your weapon, your declaration of strength. They'll never understand it, but that's not your problem. Your silence isn't for them, it's for you. And in the end, that's all that matters.